Kia ora everyone, welcome again to the Rebecca and Knits Knitting Podcast. I'm Bex. Welcome to all those who are new and who are returning. If you are new here, my name is Bex. I am a knitter, a mum to 3 daughters, a wife and a midwife, and I live in the Hutt Valley in Wellington, New Zealand, and this is my little corner of the internet where I love to share all about the things I have been knitting on and my love/obsession with yarn and all things woolly and knitting. I love to knit predominantly. I also spin. I dabble in crochet occasionally. And I love collecting yarn as well. But it is the 27th of May and I'm coming to you just with a regular podcast update today. I thought I would come in and just make a quick episode and update you on all my current WIPs. Because the Kiwi Make-Along is starting very soon. Next week on Monday, we have the Kiwi Make-Along starting, which I am participating in this year and sponsoring a prize for. I'll put all the details up at the end of the podcast, and also you can find them on Instagram as well. But basically, use a Kiwi yarn or knit a Kiwi designed pattern during the months of June, July and August, and post in the Ravelry group or tag one of the sponsors in your Instagram posts, and you could be in to win some lovely Kiwi Yarny prizes. And just a great opportunity to knit along through our Kiwi winter with Kiwi yarns, or to knit Kiwi designed patterns. We did this last year, was the first year we ran this make along, and it was fantastic. I knit a Calypso by Black Cat Knit Designs, and side note, I wore that at Woolfest in Auckland last weekend and I got so many compliments on that sweater. So thank you, Alana, for making me feel like a wonderful person by knitting such a wonderful sweater. Designing such a wonderful sweater that I got to knit. I have many leftover WIPs from that make along last year, but WIPs are not allowed this year. So it's got to be a new cast on June 1st or beyond, and finish it up by 31st August. Anyway, I'll be keeping on talking about this make along over the next few weeks. I'm hoping to podcast more regularly over this time, maybe shorter episodes that just give you updates on what I've been knitting on, and I will be casting on some new things, even though I have so many WIPs already going. But shall we talk about those? We'll start with what I'm wearing. Oldie but a goodie today. This is one of my lentos from my year of the lento that I did in 2023, I think. I knit a lento every month for the whole year. I do not remember which month this belonged to. You can look on my Ravelry or watch the video. I'll see if I can put a link on. I've never tried that before. But if you go back in my catalogue of videos, I have a video of the year of the lento, and I run through all the lentos that I made throughout that year. What I do remember is that I held 2 strands double for this one, and it was a lace weight strand of Madeline Tosh merino silk single ply that I brought on a D-stash, and held with Outlaw Bohemia Light in this gorgeous colourway, which is also a colourway I used in my sister's sweater vest that I finished recently. So I used the leftovers from this project for that sweater vest. What is the colourway called? I can't quite remember, and I don't have it handy. No. Do I? No, it's not handy. It's not handy, but Charming, maybe? Maybe that's actually the Outlaw Nynx name. Can't remember the colourway name, but it was Outlaw Bohemia Light, which is a discontinued yarn actually, but it was a beautiful marine possum, alpaca and Polworth blend, I believe. So that's what I'm wearing here, the sweater, and this lovely little scarf is a test knit that I did for the Craya Bear. Surprise, surprise. This actually nearly did my head in, this scarf design. It's a dip stitch pattern, and it's absolutely stunning, but man, it did my head in trying to do the increases as long with the dip stitch. I had so many attempts at casting this on and knitting it up. I think I knit it over the summer of 2024 going into 2025. And I cannot remember for the life of me what it's called, but you can look it up on my Ravelry project page or go scroll through the Crayobea's catalogue, because it is there and available for purchase if you would like to make one. It is just a small shawl. I'm not going to take it off because I've got my new microphone attached. But it's, yeah, just a small triangle type shawl, and I just have it wrapped around once and knotted underneath, so I'm kind of wearing it like a cowl today because it is chilly. 4 degrees here in Upper Hutt. Not frosty, but very damp and cold. I don't have a whole heap of time to record today, so I'm going to get on with the show. Finished objects. All I have finished this week are socks. So I will give you a tour of my socks, which some of you will have seen last episode as WIPs. I finished this pair. This was one of my sets of tube socks. I think last time I don't even know if I finished this last time. Maybe I had. I can't remember. But anyway, this pair is finished. They are beautiful. I have worn them to Woolfest and actually even got compliments on my socks. Really enjoy these. I have enough left of the tube to make another pair. I don't have more of this though, so I'm still deciding what colour I would pair with it. If you have any suggestions of what would be a good mini colour for the heels, toes and cuffs, please let me know. I was thinking maybe just an off-white. Would that be too boring? I don't know. But I have those done. I also finished my Queenstown socks. So these are a entry for the Mama Wooling Autumn Knit Along, and I used a sock set of hers for this, and I did a 1x1 rib cuff, which I did striped with the 2 colours, and then used the main colour throughout, shadow wrap heel, contrast wedge toe. And I do have both made of both of these. I just only have one set of blockers. But I finished those, so very happy with that. Haven't worn them yet because I was waiting to show them on the podcast, so I am excited to wear this pair. I kind of did like a mid-length, like in between a shorty and a longer sock. I've been knitting a lot more longer socks recently, which is unusual for me, and I haven't knit a shorty pair in ages, so maybe that will be soon. But I am really looking forward to wearing these. Love the colours. This combo is just so gorgeous. So I finished those. And I also finished the Surrey socks. Had I finished them last episode? I'm going to have just a wee look at my notes here. I don't think I had finished them. No, I'd finished the tube socks. Was it that tube socks that I finished? Anyway, I finished the Surrey socks that I was also making for the Mama Wooling Knit Along. I could only find one of them, so I'm going to put in a photo. I think I have a photo of the pair. I'll have a look. Hopefully I do, or hopefully I find the other sock and I can take a photo, because I made them kind of like alternating. So one was a soft teal and a pink, and I held I did the whole sock in the pink for one and the whole sock on the teal for the other, and alternated their contrasts. So I actually really love them. They're really fun, and they are so snuggly. Absolutely delightful socks. I've been wearing them, hence one is somewhere. This is just the chaotic Bex crazy that you're going to get today, okay? I'm sorry, that's just the way that it is. So that's all the things I have finished. I also don't have, but have finished a little tiny pair of fingerless knits, exactly the same as I made for my daughter, which I talked about a couple episodes ago. Her best friend was very admiring of her little gloves, and I was helping out school swimming and chatting with her last week, and she said, I would love some gloves, and so I said, I'll make you some. So I made one that afternoon and one the next day, and gave them to her, and she requested light blue and light purple, and so this is what I found in my stash. I'll put in a photo, and these were minis by Marina of of strawberry patches. One came with a sock set and one was part of a mini set that I bought at Woolfest last year. So they worked out really great because they were beautifully the colours that she wanted. So I gifted them to her and she was delighted. I held the yarn double and did a DK weight, and I based the numbers off the School Run Mittens by Laura Penrose. I just took the stitch counts from that because those have a folded picot cuff, not a rib, but I just swapped it out for rib, as I did with my last pairs. Notes from my Ravelry page. I think I took notes. Sometimes with these quick little impulse cast-ons, I don't really take notes. I just go ahead and do and try and make a match, which sometimes is a challenge. But yeah, so those are all my finished objects. In terms of WIPs, I will run through it. I've obviously got some more socks. I'm still working on Ella's jumper, the test knit that I'm doing for Perfectly Knotted, and I've worked a little bit on my lace test knit socks that have been lingering for a long time, and I have cast on some socks for summer sock camp with this crazy sock lady, and I have started the Rivendell cardigan for my sister. So let's see what's at the top of the basket here. Oh, let's see, this is the test knit sock, so you're not really going to be able to see a lot of difference, but I did pick this up on my trip to Woolfest. I decided that I would take the dedicated quiet knit time that I had on the flight to Auckland to pick these up again and try and get going. And I didn't make it super far because the needles had come out and I had to find my place in the pattern, etc, etc. But I have done the gusset increases here, so I did all of this gusset increase part, and I think I got to the end of the gusset decreases, and now I need to knit the fleegle heel. So I have made some progress. I'm nearly through the tricky part. Once I've done the fleegle heel, which is just, I've only ever done it on the other sock of these, so it's not something I'm familiar with. I need to sit down quietly and do it. I can't just do it on the fly. So once I'm through the heel and I just need to work up the pattern repeat for the leg, it should fly by. So I'm hoping to finish these because they're just gorgeous, and although there's no deadline because the test knit finished ages ago, it would be lovely to get to wear them because they are just a stunning colour and stunning design. I did put a little bit of work on with them. These are being knit up in Vintage Pearls sock yarn. If you're looking for some cool, intricate socks, I was looking up Kiwi sock designers yesterday. Oh my goodness, Vintage Pearls has some stunning sock designs. We shout out to them. They have had a little bit of progress. I have also, I'll show you Ella's jumper. I have it in my Stitches bag, which I just love, with this kind of chevron design that looks like knits, and my little green sweater dinosaur on the bottom there. Love him. And it's a green sweater, so it had to be. This is my test knit sweater. I'll put the name of it on the screen because I can never remember what it's called for some reason. I think, oh, I'm talking too fast. Just take a breath. Take a breath. Take a sip of tea. Yum. Okay, sorry. I'll try and relax. I think I'm really feeling the time limitation. Test knit sweater for my daughter Ella. I'm knitting the first size. It's a really long test knit window. It's not due until the end of July, so I haven't really been doing a whole lot on this, though I would like to just clear it from my needles, so I think I will try and dedicate a fair bit more time to this knit. Last time I think I was almost split for the sleeves, which I have done, and I have done a few centimetres just below the armhole there. I have got her to try it on, and it does fit. It's going to be quite fitted. I haven't measured whether the circumference is actually equaling what it should. I don't think I have a tape measure out here with me, but it will fit, and I think it will relax a bit with blocking. but it won't be super oversized, which I thought it was going to be quite big on her. But that's okay. It is the small size and it will fit. So I'm just working away on that, and when I checked my gauge, I was on gauge, so should be getting the circumference that I'm looking for, but I didn't actually wash my swatch. I'm just winging it a little bit. But I'm hoping to get some good progress made on the body of this. I am using, I don't have the label here, I will put in a photo. Editing Bex is going to love this, of what this yarn is called. It's like Manga to Toto or something rather like that. It's a New Zealand Polworth blend. I actually can't remember. It's not a brand I've used before. It is lovely. And then the mohair that I'm holding is just a really cheap and nasty, actually, mostly natural fibre, but with a nylon binder rather than silk, that I had in my stash that I acquired somewhere along the line. And I love the look of the fabric, and my daughter loves the look of the fabric. I have to say, this feels quite squeaky in acrylic. Now, the label says that it is wool, mohair, and nylon. It feels very squeaky. Like, I wouldn't have been surprised if this was just completely synthetic. So whether or not I can believe the label or not, I don't know. I'm not too worried about the fact that it may be a synthetic fibre, but it's not the nicest knitting experience, I have to say. It feels quite acrylic and squeaky on my needles, which I'm not loving, which is probably why I'm finding it hard to be motivated to knit on this. But by the time I really realised that it was the mohair that was making it feel not so lovely, I was already so far through that I didn't want to frog and restart with a different yarn. So I'm just going to have to persevere and put some dedicated knitting time into this. I need to like sit down with a couple of good movies and just knit, and knit. She needs 30 centimetres from the underarm to where I start the rib. I measured it up on her when she tried it on. So that's that width. I think it'll be really lovely, and she will really enjoy wearing it once it's made. I just got to like focus on it a little bit. I've just got other things that are more fun, like my new cast on, which is the Rivendell Cardigan. Now, I said that I could cast this on once I had been, joined in the round for that jumper, so I did. And this is much more fun to knit, but it is also really slow going because it is an entirely moss stitch and cabled cardigan. It is knit from the top down. This is how far I have got in the last 2 weeks since I cast it on. Here we go. I'll try and hold it up. It's a bit hard to hold because it's such a big flat piece of fabric at the moment. So basically you cast on at the top of the back there and you work increases out for the width of the back shoulder. It's a drop shoulder cardigan, and then you knit straight, which is what I'm doing now. I'm about halfway through the straight, which takes you down to the join in the round spot, and then you pick up and do the fronts and then join all in the round once you've knit them down. So this is the full diameter. I don't want to hit my microphone. Across the back shoulder, and so you can see that looks, I'm knitting a size 3, which is what I would probably knit for myself. It's supposed to be 116 centimetres completed, and my gauge is on, so hopefully that looks like it would go across my shoulders and down for a little drop, doesn't it? Also, it's not blocked, and I feel like, look how stretchy this moss stitch is. I do think it's going to grow a wee bit with blocking, which is good. So yeah, I'm about halfway through. I did take this to Woolfest with me to try and buy some buttons for this cardigan, but I didn't find anything that I liked. So it will also be coming with me to Christchurch to Woolfest in another 3 weeks, to look there. yeah, one of the vendors that I looked at her buttons at Capital Fibre Fest, she's a South Island based person. I don't know what she's called. She makes beautiful ceramic buttons and earrings and brooches and shawl pins, etc. And she wasn't at Woolfest, but she is going to be at Woolfest, so I will have another look for some buttons there. This cardigan does have a double knit button band, so I'm hoping that means that it will be robust enough to have some like handmade ceramic buttons, but they are quite heavy. So there is that to toss up, whether that's going to actually work with this fabric, because it isn't like super dense. I am holding Flight Naturals from Skeins, which is 100% New Zealand merino, machine washable, in an undyed colour, which is named Kiwi. I'm holding that with an alpaca fluff yarn that I brought on a cone from Yarn on Cone. So it's alpaca, wool, and it's got a nylon binder, but this does not feel squeaky like the other one does. It's also a much finer weight. I find this quite fine weight mohair works really well along with a fingering weight, like a New Zealand 4-ply, which is a little bit like 200 meters to 100 grams. So 50 grams, sorry. This is 178 meters to 50 grams. And these two together, I get a really nice DK gauge on. This has multiple gauges listed because there's a gauge for the moss stitch and then there's a gauge for when you're doing the cabling. But it's supposed to be around 20 stitches, which is what I'm getting. I am using a 4mm and a 3.5mm needle, which I often do when I knit flat because my purls are looser than my knits, and so usually when I'm knitting flat, I'll have in DK weight, I'll do a 4mm on the knit side and a 3.75 on the purl side. And even though this is moss stitch, so it's different, the gauge is different than just if it was stockinette, I'm still using the one of each, and it's working out well. I'm getting good gauge. I think 3.5s were recommended in the pattern. So, yeah. Anyway, Sari must be a really loose knitter, looser than me. But that's my progress on that one. I'm really loving it. It's a lovely, lovely knit. It's really engaging. I enjoy knitting the moss stitch. I don't mind the knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one. Why it feels so different than rib when it's essentially rib just offset, I don't know, but it does. And I like it. I find with my continental knitting style, I don't mind knit purling at all. I essentially do what most people call combination knitting, and so you knit the knit row, and then when you purl, you actually end up purling through the back loop. It's just such a simple, easy way to purl continental. But then when you get back to the knit row, all your knit stitches are twisted, so then you actually knit through the back loop. But for me, my gauge is much more even for me to knit through the back loop and then purl twisted than to just knit and then do the purl technique that gives you a regular purl. My gauge is much looser on those purls, where it's much more consistent when I do the other way. So I find I get rowing out when I knit and purl properly, but when I combination knit, I get really good gauge, and you don't end up with twisted stitches because you untwist them by knitting through the back loop when you come back. So it works out. It does have a name. It's called combination knitting, and it works for me. And so that's what I do, and I'm doing that with this. And I'm getting gauge, and I'm getting the stitch pattern that I'm supposed to. So, hooray. I am not at all a snob for whatever style of knitting works for you. If you are a flicker, if you're a thrower, if you knit English, continental, Portuguese, however, whatever style works for you. If you get good gauge and fabric that you like, do whatever works for you. I was taught to knit English style, and I can and do that still when I'm doing colour work, two-handed colour work, but I'm so slow because I can't flick. I have to let go and wrap, let go and wrap, let go and wrap, and it just takes so much more time. So now that I'm proficient at continental knitting, way my preferred. But no shade on anyone who knits differently. Like, knit whichever way you like to knit. And that feels good for you, that works for your body, and that gives you the results that you like. That is my Rivendell cardigan. I told my sister when she picked that design that it was going to be a long-winded knit. It's not going to be quickly done. And she was happy with that. So, like, I'm enjoying working on it, but I'm not rushing. I don't know why I'm sitting so crooked today. What's wrong with, why do I keep leaning over here? That's so strange. Okay, I'm not sure what's wrong with me today. I'm a little bit up in the air because my husband got a freak phone call, email last night at the end of the day. Little interruption to the WIPs with some life news here, to say that one of his colleagues was supposed to be going on this work trip to Thailand, and he no longer can go, and they want Kevin to go instead. And the trip, it leaves on the 7th of June, which is the end of next week. And it's like, oh, you're going to be overseas for a week. That's a lot. So we're scrambling to try and get his passport renewed, and I'm supposed to be working night shifts that week, so either to try and get me the days off work or to get someone to come and night babysit our children so that I can still go to work, but they're too young to be left home alone. So I've got a lot going on in the brain today, just trying to put all the pieces together so that he can take this. It's actually an amazing opportunity. All expenses paid trip to Thailand. It's not somewhere we've ever been before. He would love to go. But trying to wrangle last week logistics for an international trip, it's a little much. So anyway, we'll see if it comes together. Hopefully it will. But yes, just lots of busyness in the brain. What haven't I talked about yet? Socks. Okay, so when I went to Woolfest, just before then, I had finished my Queenstown socks, and I was like, I need a stockinette sock to have on my needles to take with me, because I'm only going to be able to work on the lace socks if, when I have quiet time. I can't do that while interacting with people. So I cast on with my single ball of Knit Picks palette that I showed you last episode that I got on a D-stash. And just this morning, I finished knitting that ball into a tube. So I have a cuff at each end. I started knitting, and they were going to be for me, and then my lovely, darling 8-year-old daughter saw them and just absolutely fell in love. And I'm like, okay, I'll let you have this pair. So I didn't really know, because I only had the one ball, I didn't have a contrast yarn with me. I was away for the day and just knitting while, being driven around, and while at Knit Woolfest and in between different bits and pieces, I thought, I'm just going to knit it into a tube. And I got a fair way through this over that day. Probably 2/3 of it I did during Woolfest, and then I took it for a walk the other day and got quite a bit done yesterday, and got quite a bit done at work last night as well because it wasn't super busy. So I now have this lovely tube, and I will, which it's not going to match exactly because I just knit the colour repeat as it came. But we do have the same 5 rows of yellow at the top. So that's nice. And I will, just put my needles in and split the tube in half and put toes on and do afterthought heels. I think each colour is 8 rows, and I think I decided she needs 50 rows for the foot. 16, 32, 40, 48. So I will it'll probably have this long of a leg, which is what she was wanting, quite a long leg. And then I will do I'll do 2 or 4 rows, just straight before I start the toe decreases, just to make it up to at least 50 rows, because there would be 48. Yeah. So that is what I am going to do with this. That has been really fun. I've been really impressed with this Knit Picks palette. If I ever find any more for sale, I will definitely snap it up, because I really like it. I had a look at the current colours on their website for this most recent drop. Didn't love it. So I'm not going to be going out of my way to buy this yarn from the US. But if random bits pop up, I will definitely knit with it again. It is lovely. It is superwash merino and nylon, 75-25, and I think they'll make lovely socks. I think we've decided just to go for a natural, just white, which probably isn't very practical for an 8-year-old, but I have some mama wooling just undyed that it doesn't quite match because this is quite a bleached white, but like I don't have anything really that matches these colours exactly, so I think I'm best just to go for the white. Or she said, or purple, because there's no purple in this. So I could do a completely different colour and do a purple, but I didn't find much light purple in my stash when I was looking for Edie. I just had that one mini skein which I've used, so I'm not sure I'll actually find anything that would work for that. So I'll probably use this. So that's that width. And then my summer sock camp socks, where have they got themselves to? So Crazy Sock Lady is the introduction that I had to socks. I've been knitting socks from her tutorials since I began in 2020. And she runs a knit along most American summers called Summer Sock Camp. She didn't run it last year, but it's back on again this year. And you can see that I have collected a few of her little badges throughout the years from the different Summer Sock Camps. And not all of them, because she hasn't done merch for all of them. These ones are just from 2022. I think I bought them in 2023. Actually, anyway. Because buying things from the US is generally too expensive to be worth it. But I cast on a pair of socks. She's released a new, there's a logo for the knit along. I'll put that up here. It's this beautiful pink, white, and yellow, pink, yellow, and baby blue kind of theme. And so I have cast on a pair of socks in the colour theme that Summer Sock Camp is. I showed you this skein last episode, which I just got from Amy of Handmaiden. It is a DK weight silver stellina sparkle self-striping. And you can see here how it knits up. We've got two different pinks, ends everywhere, with a yellow in the centre. And then I'm using this pale blue, which is a leftover from last year's sock club from Mama Wooling. So it's just this, I had just leftovers of this beautiful pale blue. I cannot tell you what month this was from. No idea. But I am using this one for the blue. And so I've done the cuff in the blue, I've done the heel in the blue and one stripe of the blue, because I realised that it was going to go pink, pink, yellow, pink, pink, and then repeat pink, pink again before it did yellow. So I thought I would put in a blue stripe there. And the heel is blue, like I said, and then I will just do the pink and yellow and then a blue toe. So because of DK, they're knitting up so super fast. And I'm really enjoying this. I love the sparkles. They will be really nice and warm for the winter with the DK weight. I am using 3.25 millimeter needles, Chalgo interchangeables, and I actually had them on an adapter and a mini cable. I'm not actually having a lot of luck with these mini cables. I just got this one replaced actually because it snapped off right at this join point, because I think because my hand ends up resting there. I was using the 10 centimeter tips, and so I purchased a pair of 13 centimeter tips, so hopefully my hand will rest on the solid metal rather than on the join, which is working. But I'm still not sure if I'm just too rough with my knitting. You know how I cart it around everywhere and I put it in my pocket and I take it on a walk or on a hike, and I think maybe that's just a bit too much for these mini cables. So I may just stick to the regular red lace cables in the future. But I do find I get less laddering when I use the minis. Though I'm getting pretty good at magic loop socks now, so I don't generally get laddering anyway. So I might just be better off sticking with the red lace regular cables. But that is my summer sock camp cast on, which I am very much enjoying. I will be knitting socks all winter / summer. But I always do anyway, so nothing new there. The only other thing, I haven't worked on the crochet blanket at all in the last couple of weeks. I also haven't worked on the cardi for my workmate. I did very seriously contemplate taking that with me to Auckland to just knit on that for the day. But I got excited by the socks, so I took them instead. I really should work on that, but it's brown and it's knit flat and it's kind of boring. So it's just essentially a ball worth of rib, 6 balls worth of knit flat, a ball worth of rib. That's it. With like I-cord edges, no shaping, no interesting stuff at all. Why did I say yes to making that? Anyway, I will get onto it. It's in Flight by Skeins as well, so it's New Zealand yarn. So I should knit it during the make-along, shouldn't I? The only other thing I did pick up this week, which was surprising, but for some reason I was feeling blankets. Maybe because it's got cold, I was feeling pretty pink colours. And I had my Stella quilt blanket on the brain, which I've been working on for, I don't know, it's been going for like 18 months or something, because I started it very enthusiastically and then moved on to other things. I think it was the Battenberg blanket this time last year that really like stole my blanket attention, and then I just haven't really got back to the Stella quilt. But for some reason, I really, really wanted to work on it this week, so I allowed myself to pull it out from hibernation, and I put one solid grey square on it. And it goes this way, because this is the bottom. So I just did this grey square. It knit up so quick. I would really love to get back into this project, but I just have too many other things on the needles that are committed to people that are more imminently needed. I'm going to put in a photo of what this quilt square will look like. This will be number 4, and I think I'm supposed to make 9. I just want to have it out here on this couch. This grey tones in beautifully with the greys that I have out here. Where can I put it? There. And I'm doing the same star motif throughout, and each star is alternating variegated and solids, and they're all different pinks and corals. It's just so pretty. I'll put a few photos of what I have from when I planned this project, and I just adore it, and I really want to get back to knitting it. It's fun. It's just German short rows. It's really quick. It's really easy. It's so fun to add in the funky colours. I'm using up minis and scraps and leftovers and all sorts of pinks. This one's going to be like bright hot pinks. And the ones I've made before, I've made 2 like more this kind of corally peachy toned pinks, and one that's more deeper purpley pinks. I've got heaps more pinks in my stash ready to go. So I am excited to get back to this, but I just don't know when. It's a real mixture of yarns. This is from Knit Crate when I was a subscriber of theirs, which was an American yarn subscription, and it's a merino stellina cashmere blend, and I had 6 skeins I think, and I managed to buy 3 skeins from someone in Norway off Ravelry to make up enough to do the whole blanket. So it's a pretty special knit, and it's got leftovers and scraps and minis from throughout my years of yarn collecting. So I would really like it's a really cool project. I want to get back to it. Too many things though. Too many knits, not enough time. Too many commitments to other people that I can't knit my own things. Maybe this is why I haven't done much gift knitting in the past, because honestly I get so enthusiastic about gift knitting and then feel so limited that I can't knit the things I want for me. What a life. What a struggle this knitting life is. It's really not a struggle. Like, it's really such a privilege to have the time, the capacity, the money to buy the yarn, to bless people with hand knit gifts, and to make stuff for myself. It's such a blessing. It's not a burden at all. It's just prioritization is not my strongest point. That's all my WIPs. That's enough, I think. It's already been 40 minutes. I thought this would be a really short episode. Okay, I've already talked to you about the Kiwi Make Along. Stay tuned. I'm going to try and film another episode. I don't know if it will be on the 1st. I'm going to cast on the 1st. I will try and make an episode, but it is a public holiday. It's the King's birthday observance here in New Zealand that day. I am working the afternoon shift because you get paid time and a half. Yeah, it's actually double time to work on a public holiday in New Zealand. So I'm in on that. So I will be working in the afternoon. So I'm hoping to squeeze out some time in the morning, maybe to do a little short episode about me casting on in the Kiwi Make Along again. What I'm going to cast on is a sweater for my niece Lila. Her first birthday and dedication is coming up. So I am going to make, I talked about this last time, but I'm going to make her the Rose Fisherman's sweater, which I did make for my other niece as well. It's a design by the hand dyer behind Yarn. And she made one for her daughter and she wrote up the pattern. It's half fisherman's rib. It's like a Aran weight. And I'm going to knit it in Highland Heathers by Skeins, which is a beautiful woolly wool New Zealand yarn. It is non-superwash, so I'm hoping her mama will be okay with taking care of it. She wanted a light purple. This is the only thing I've got in stash that fits the bill. That held double will be the right gauge. This is a sport weight. So this is what I've decided to use because I want to do it with the Kiwi Make Along. So I want it to be a New Zealand yarn. And I don't have a lot else of pale purple. Anyway, I do have this one. I was tossing up this. I would need to adjust the gauge. This is a softer yarn. It's definitely softer. It's a special edition Chatswood called Land's End, and it's also by Skeins, and it's a multi-fibre blend, recycled blend. Again, it's non-superwash, and it's a DK weight. So I would need to adjust the gauge to knit it in this solo versus this double. I think this will be prettier because of the heathering, but this will be softer. But they both need to be hand washed. Also, I have a sweater quantity of this for myself. I mean, I do of this too, but I'm less likely to knit this for myself. I think this is more pretty for a 1-year-old. This is a little bit bland. So I think I'm going to go with this. I think that's what I've decided. And she can just send it to me to hand wash it if she doesn't want to do that. But her cardigan, this is for the daughter of the one who's getting the Rivendell cardigan. That's going to need to be hand washed because it's mohair. So I'm just going to have to teach her how. I've hand knit her sweaters before and she takes good care of them. So I'm not actually that concerned. So I'm going to use that for my cast on. And I'm going to be doing like a size 12 to 18 months, so it shouldn't take too long. And I'm also going to, my other plan is one of my Woolfest acquisitions was this stunning ball of West Yorkshire spinners. This is called Rum Paradise 822, and it's essentially rainbow self-striping yarn, a full 100 gram skein. I'm going to get my friend 80 to knit this up into a sock tube for me so that I can make socks for my other daughter, Cara, who's almost 11, because she also fell in love with the ones that I hand knit for Rhea. And I said, well, if you want them speedily, I'll get it made into a tube and I'll make you taller socks with this. Because I'm not hand knitting a tube again in a hurry. Like, it was perfect for that trip, but it's annoyingly long. and painful process to do by hand. If you don't, it's much more fun to actually just make a sock as a whole. Because I also still haven't got great on the cast off of the rib. I tried a different technique on that one and it's still not on point. Anyway, so this is one of my Woolfest acquisitions. That's a plan coming up. That will become a tube, which will become socks for Cara. The other thing that I may cast on throughout the Kiwi Make Along, is one of my workmates is having a baby girl in September, and she would love a baby bonnet in a beige colour. So I have not picked yarn for that yet, or a pattern, but I am going to hopefully make a baby bonnet. That should be a fun little project. If you have any baby bonnet recommendations, I think she said she wanted a ruffle around the edge. If you know any patterns like that, feel free to send them my way. If you have any good yarn recommendations, I was thinking that I might use the leftovers from my sister's sweater vest, the brush tail possum, in the natural beigey colour. Because this will be delightfully warm to wear on a newborn's head. It's a little bit fluffy with the halo, but not like a mauve hair shedding halo, so I think it should be okay. I know there is a bit of concern about shedding fibres and newborns inhaling those fibres, so I'm not sure if I should really use such a fluffy yarn. I don't have a lot in beige. This is also possum. So maybe use some of this, but that's a sweater quantity that I don't really want to break out. I don't know. That one needs a bit more consideration, so that'll come later in the make along anyway. It is my birthday next week. I am hoping to... I don't think I'm going to do anything special for the podcast this time because we have the Kiwi Make Along starting anyway. But I am hoping to go on an outing. Joy of Yarn, who is a yarn store who was over in the Wairarapa, has moved his store into central Wellington to Willis Street, and I would love to go and visit his new store location. So I'm hoping to go on a outing, maybe with a nitty friend or two, maybe a solo, we'll see, on my birthday because I have the day off work to go visit his yarn store, so it'll trip into the city. So that should be really fun. If I get to do that, I will take some footage and post that on my next episode. Nothing important. So that is exciting. I am looking forward to turning 38. Nothing else exciting is happening with that. It's just another birthday. But I am very much gonna enjoy just like doing a day for me. I might buy some yarn if I go into Joy of Yarn. And I didn't bring it. Maybe I'll save that for my next episode. So I actually have something to talk about on the next one. One of my Woolfest purchases was some beautiful hand-dyed Hanui fibre by Strawberry Patches. Thank you, Marina. I love it. It was called something Fantail Fantasy, and I am obsessed with the Waka Waka New Zealand native fantails. Look, I even have a little one hanging off my bag here. I have this beautiful pin by Lisa F Designs. It's a Waka Waka wearing a hat. I love Waka Waka. If I was ever going to get a tattoo, it would be of a Waka Waka. Anyway, the fibre was called Fantail Fantasy, and so I had to get it. I got 2 skeins, 2 braids of 100 grams. I'd love to do a garment spin with that, so I couldn't resist. I was going to do that for Kiwi Make Along, but I started it already. I'll put in a photo because I don't have it with me. But I would like to buy some Hanui fibre in a dark base because it's quite a dark, moody purple. All the fibre that I have that's undyed is quite light in colour, and I feel it's giving too much of a mild contrast. I don't like it. What I want is like a dark chocolate or charcoal kind of colour fibre to hold to strand together. So I'll apply a natural with the hand dyed to make it go further, essentially, because there was only 2 braids. And So I'm spinning it as fine as I can, like lace weight fine, and then I'll ply it with a hanui and get like a fingering weight and hopefully knit a garment. That is my exciting plan with that. But the whole point of talking about that was that for my birthday, I would like to purchase the hanui fibre. So because it's a bit of a hassle to buy that they will be at Woolfest, but it's a bit of a hassle to bring like 400 grams. It's not heavy, but it's bulky bringing spinning fibre home. So I think I'll just buy it online on my birthday. That's my plan. What else did I get at Woolfest? I'm running out of time. Very quickly, I've got 10 minutes left. What did I buy at Woolfest? I had an amazing time. I didn't take much footage. I just enjoyed the day. I took photos with some lovely people. I got to be part of a Calypso sweater picture with Black Cat Knits and Lupine Yarn Store and Alana. It was delightful. I actually missed the initial photo and then they like rustled everyone back up into another one just because I was there. I was so delighted. I honestly had such a great day. Like I said, I got so many compliments on my Calypso sweater, and I had brought a gold skirt that matched the colour work, contrast colour, and I had the whole outfit, and I wore gold socks with my little boots and my toted around my Hohi Locatelli bag, and I just felt like the bee's knees. It was just such a great day. I didn't get recognised by anybody, which was a bit of a relief because I don't like the idea of being famous. But I did get to say hi to lots of people who I interact with online. Huge shout out to especially Michelle, but also Maureen and Aurora, who were my travel buddies for the day. Michelle picked me up from the airport. She drove us all out to Woolfest. She took me back to her house for dinner because I had made no plans and had a late flight. And she took me back to the airport. Oh, she was just fantastic. So huge thank you, Michelle, for being such a great host and enabling my Woolfest trips. And thank you, Maureen, for bringing your humour and your fun into the day. It's so fun to have you along for the ride, and Aurora was lovely to hang out with as well. It was such a great day. I just enjoyed squishing all the yarn, meeting all the people. I did do more buying than I intended to because I had bought so much on D-Stash and at Capital Fibre Fest, but I couldn't walk past a couple of really amazing deals. I'll just talk through what I got quickly and wrap this up. I got the 200 gram braids of fibre from Marina, which you will have seen a photo of, and I will talk more about that next time. I got this, which I showed you, the West Yorkshire Spinners. Can't remember which booth I bought this from. I just saw it, I grabbed it, I moved on. It's really fun. I really like that. From Diana at the Cabana Diana, from Diana I got this Rowan sock yarn. I've never used this one before, and I really love coral tones. So this is like a gradient sock yarn, and I'm going to do a textured sock with this. This is 75% wool, 25% polyamide, and it's kind of, it feels a bit more like a single ply. Like it's got that kind of like single ply structure rather than having lots of plies. I want to do a textured sock with this. I'm thinking, like my initial thought when I saw it was the coffee bean socks, the vanilla bean socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. It's a really simple but effective all over texture. And I would like, we'll do like a broken rib kind of sock, something like that with this. She also so kindly gifted me one of her patterns, the beautiful damaged shawl. So I may well make that sometime soon. Then I had to get this because it's a rainbow pastel dream of fluff. This is a 50 gram bat from Amber Liz Makes. This was her first time at Woolfest with all her beautiful hand-dyed spinning fibre. This is called Silky Rainbow, and it is 21 micron Polworth held with 50% mulberry silk. And it's just a pastel rainbow dream. and I couldn't leave it there. It was just too pretty, and it honestly feels like a cloud. So I brought that as well. Don't know what that will become, but something. Then what else did I get? I got this. This was new to me. They're not new, but new to me. Little Mill Over the Hill. And I was just enamored with this lovely woman who makes this yarn. She has a mini mill in a rural area near Rotorua, and she makes this beautiful yarn. This one here happens to be a Corriedale. It's a 12 ply chunky. It's 150 meters here. And Hamurana is where she is, just near Rotorua. And it's non-superwash. But this lady used to be a midwife, and she now has a mini mill. And I'm just like, what kind of amazing career transition is that? Like, plans for my future. When I'm finished being a midwife, maybe I will own a mini mill or a yarn store. I couldn't get any better. Anyway, I just think this is absolutely delightful. I had to walk away with this because this is very similar to the colour of my Lanark stockinette. And I've had so many compliments about how good this colour looks on me. So I brought this. And I had in mind that I brought some fibre from Capital Fibre Fest last year from Union Fibre, and I have spun it up. I haven't washed it yet, so it looks a little bit ropey still because it hasn't bloomed, but it's this stunning teal, and it's a similar gauge. It's probably Aran, DK to Aran, rather than chunky, but I thought, how striking is that? I've got 200 grams of this. I'm not exactly sure how many meters that's going to become, but I thought a colourwork t-shirt type situation with this, with the like a striking floral motif colourwork with this everywhere else, would be like bold and beautiful. So that might become a thing. That's what I was kind of thinking. My other thought was, if this doesn't work out, maybe I will hold it with this, which is a beautiful with possum blend that's technically DK, but it'll plump up well enough to use with this. So what do you think? Shall I do it with the neutral, or shall I do it with the deep rich teal? Let me know your thoughts. So I didn't just buy willy-nilly crap with no like intention to it. I brought beauty with plans. So even though it's a single skein, it has a plan. That might end up getting cast on for the Kiwi Make Log if I get through some of my other things. And then I thought I'd done so well to only purchase all of that, and it was nearly home time. And then I was like, you know who I haven't had a good look at yet? Miro yarns. And if you've been around here for a while, you know I have knit with quite a lot of Miro yarns, mostly stuff that I've got on D-Stash. But I love their yarn. They do such beautiful, beautiful yarns. And Miro Yarns was actually in the Calypso that I was wearing. They had a bargain basket. Now, not many people had bargain baskets. Miro Yarns did. Now, I brought some beautiful boucle from their bargain bin last year's Woolfest. This one. And so I was a bit excited about Miro Yarns bargain bin. And what was it full of? Suri silk and mohair. And what did Bex do? Buy every single skein that was in there. So I got 6 skeins of Suri silk and 1 of mohair. I got 4 of these. This is brushed Suri silk, and it is 300 meters to 100 grams, so it's a lace weight. This is called Dabble. And I got 4 of these, so a sweater quantity of this stunning pale mint with the like inky blue splashes. Yeah, so I have 4 of these, and they had these reduced in their bargain bin from $40 down to $25. Now, excuse me, but I can't go past such a good a deal as that. That's as good as buying it on D-Stash. Like, that is absolutely the biggest bargain ever. There's no way I could walk away and not buy those. And it's absolutely a colour that I would use, and that would match with something that's already in my stash. So I got those. Then there was 2 that were pink. I mean, of course, these were coming home with me. This is a slightly different base. It's also Surrey Silk, but they've called it Surrey Silk Cloud. And this is 400 meters to 50 grams. So this is more like the weight of a mohair, whereas the Surrey Silk is a little bit heavier, the other one. This one's called Cherry Blossom. Again, reduced to $25. Oh, you guys are too good to me. Pipit Miro Yarns, you are amazing. This is just the softest blush pink with a few more saturated patches. Adore, 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 adore that. Haven't decided what I'll pair it with, but if you looked around me here, you would see plenty of options. Oh, no, I did have an idea. Look at this. I can't reach. It's Prosper yarn, single ply. What about that? What about that? I have 2 of these. That could be absolutely delicious. The other thing that could maybe go with either, though I only have 2 of these as well. Yeah. Oh, the pinks, the blues. Oh. It's all so heavenly. It's all so heavenly. I just love it all. I just love it all. And then there was one skein of mohair, which I thought it wasn't there. Hot pink. Of course this had to come home with me. This is the Kid Mohair Silk. 50 grams, 420 meters. It's called Lipstick. Again, reduced to $25. I love it. I love it all. It's all just so, so delightful. So, I was sticking to budget until I found that bargain bin. And then I bought it all. And then I definitely didn't stick to my budget. But you know what? I'm working a public holiday next week and I'm getting paid double time. So it will all be okay. I never spend money on yarn that I don't have as discretionary spending money. Sometimes it does limit how much money I save from my paycheck, but I never spend money that I don't have. So I will not go into debt for this kind of discretionary spending. You know, this is very much a luxury, very much an extra, not a needed. So although you see me purchasing lots of yarn, please know that I am not compromising my family. For the first time in our lives, we have a double income, and, well, since before we had children anyway, and it is just delightful to have a little bit of spare to splash on things you love. So I've done a good job of that recently, and should maybe rein it in a little bit. But maybe I'll wait till after Woolfest to rein it in, because I've got one more yarn event to go. I did purchase one other thing. I'm running out of time. Guys, I'm going to be late to my next appointment. 80, if you're watching this and I turn up late today for our knit and chat, this is why. Because this podcast took longer to record than I'd hoped. I am coming, I promise. I've got one other thing I wanted to show you because it does relate to my Woolfest purchase. The one other thing that I purchased. I'm just trying to move some of the chaos. Get rid of the cup of tea so I don't drop anything in it this time. Okay, I purchased this cone from Amy at Yarn on Cones. It is boucle, fingering weight boucle, 73% merino, 27% silk, 465 grams, and it's 400 meters to 100 grams. So it's a fingering weight silk merino boucle. This cone Cost me $35. Now that is a steal. I love a good cone. You can't see them today, but, oh, sorry. Apologies for the hand across the thing. Look at that. Can you see all of those cones up there? I have a whole collection. I could have bought heaps more of hers actually, but I only had carry-on baggage. So I did have to be careful about the bulk of what I was taking home. So one was enough. It's a very, very, I thought it was cream when I brought it, but it's actually a very, very, very pale blush pink. Adore this. And the thing that I thought that I would use it for was to hold with an Advent to make a blanket, because I've been excited about Advent blankets. I don't think I've ever shown this on the podcast, but I did purchase an Advent from Rainbows and Sprinkles last Christmas. And I didn't actually open it at Christmas because I had my scrappy one to open, my scrappy swap, and I had my Mama Wooling one to open. And I felt like opening 3 was a little excessive. It was a little excessive that I had accumulated 3. So I saved this one and opened it once we were back at work in January and February, and I was feeling a bit about not having a summer holiday. I opened this. This is the main skein. It was called Pastel Rainbow Advent, and it's a sock base. Now, I took a photo. My daughter loved to lay them all out, so I'll show you the photo of the whole lot laid out, but it very much is a pastel rainbow. It's almost neon, some of these actually, but really beautiful semi-solids and variegateds. Some are got more variegation to them, and some of them are more semi-solid. Really fun, really pretty. Not really a garment, me is thinking. I'm thinking like a sweet shop blanket or a crochet like moss stitch, what's it called, linen stitch, crochet linen stitch blanket. But I wanted something to hold with it so that I didn't have to make it in fingering weight, because am I ever going to finish a fingering weight blanket? Probably not. Plus, DK weight is much nicer and cozier, in my opinion. So this cone is almost exactly the right meterage. I might be off by 1 mini to hold with these, and then to either knit or crochet a blanket. So that was my intention with that. There's also enough on here. There's about 1,800 meters to knit a garment if I choose to actually pair it with something else and knit a garment. But my intention was for the blanket. And I thought $35 to make this Advent into a blanket is a steal. So I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be. But this was my intention, and to put it with this very beautiful Advent. Otherwise, I don't want this just to sit around and never getting it out, because it's so pretty. It's so pretty. But it's a little bit too in your face to be a garment. I think a blanket would be great, and my daughters would fight over it. They would love it. So that is my intention. The other thing, if I do decide that I would rather use this for a blanket, not for a blanket, but for a garment, because it is really lovely, is I could use one of my other, like the rest of the cream cone that I had used for my Battenberg blanket. I could pair that with this. I think I have enough left of that. So I could do that instead if I do decide I want this for something else. But I thought the boucle texture would actually be really fun in a blanket. But it would also be really nice in a garment. So I kind of want another one. Unfortunately, there wasn't anyone. But yes, so that is my last purchase. Guys, it's been 1 hour and 10 minutes. I seriously need to go. Because I got to prep myself and get ready for work, and then head to Ailey's to knit with her for a couple of hours before I go to work. And I won't come home again because she lives close to my work. So I need to get cracking with my day. I haven't done any exercise. I was supposed to do a whole Pilates workout today, and I haven't done it. I've talked about yarn and I've knit socks. Oh well. That's the way it goes sometimes. You have to pick your priorities. And I think that's why I don't get here to podcast as often as I would like, because sometimes other priorities win. But today we have recorded, and I will love and leave you now, and I will see you next week for a cast-on party for the MCAL. They are actually going to do a online Zoom cast-on party situation for the cast-on day on the 1st of June. So if you are not working the public holiday and you would like to be involved in that, sign up for the Kiwi Make Along. Follow myself or Marina, especially Strawberry Patches, on Instagram, and you'll get all the updates. Kat from Broomstick Shows. There's heaps of us who are involved. I'll put in the graphics when I get a chance to edit this, and yeah, we can all knit along on Kiwi yarns and Kiwi designs through the winter. I'm so excited. Let me go and get on with my day and stop talking rubbish to you guys, and I will love you and leave you and see you next time. Ka kite anō. Enjoy your knitting. Bye for now.